Look at the food bowl. Really look at it. Because right now, in kitchens all over the world, there is a bowl just like this one, and it is empty, licked clean, scraped to the bottom. And the person who filled it is standing there thinking the same thing they think every single day now. He ate it all again. Good. He's got such an appetite. My old boy is doing just fine. And then they look down at the cat. And the cat is thin, not a little thin. Thin the way a coat hanger is thin under a sweater. You can feel the spine when you pet him now, every little bump of it, like beads on a string. The shoulder blades stick up. There's a hollow where the belly used to be round. And the fur that used to lie flat and shine, it's gone rough, sticking out in tufts along the back, greasy at the base of the tail where he can't quite reach anymore. He ate everything in the bowl, and he's disappearing. I want you to sit with how strange that is, how wrong it feels. Everything you have ever known about a hungry animal says the same thing. Eats a lot, gets bigger. That's the deal. That's how it works. A cat that cleans the bowl and begs for more should be putting on weight, not melting off of it. That is the law of every living thing. Food goes in, body fills out. You feed the stray under the porch, and in a month he's round and glossy. You feed a growing kitten and he doubles in size before your eyes. Hunger and health, they travel together. They always have. But here he is, eating like a teenager, and wasting away like something is stealing the food right out of his body before it can do him any good. He meets you at the bowl in the morning, loud about it, insistent, tail up, rubbing your ankles. He eats the whole thing. He asks for more, and you give it to him because how could you not? Look at that appetite, and you tell yourself he's thriving, and under your hand, week by week, month by month, he gets lighter. The collar you never adjusted now spins loose around his neck. The spot on the couch that used to sag under him barely dips. He weighs almost nothing, and he is always, always hungry. Something is. And what if I told you that the thing quietly starving your old cat, the thing hiding underneath that big appetite, is one of the most common diseases in senior cats there is, and one of the most treatable? What if I told you that this exact pattern, the eating a lot but thin pattern, is so classic, so textbook, that a lot of us can practically diagnose it from across the room, and that the test to confirm it is one small tube of blood? Hold on to that, because I'm going to tell you exactly what this is, exactly what to look for, and exactly what to do. I promise. But first, I need you to understand why almost everybody misses it. I'm Dr. Aurelio. I'm the old-school cat vet, the kind who's been putting his hands on cats for longer than some of you have been alive. And I'm going to be straight with you the way I'd be straight with you across the exam table. This one breaks my heart more than almost anything, because it's so fixable, and it gets missed so often. It gets missed because of 4 little words. 4 words that owners say to me, gently, lovingly, all the time. It's just old age. The cat's a little thinner? He's old. It happens. The cat seems restless, pacing, yowling in the night, can't settle. He's a cranky old man now. The coat looks scruffy. He's too old to groom himself, poor thing. Drinking more water. Old cats drink more, don't they? And every one of those things, every single one, gets waved away as the years catching up, when the truth is, they're not old age at all. They're symptoms. They're a disease with a name, and that name is hyperthyroidism. Let me tell you what that word actually means, because I don't want you to just have a label. I want you to understand it so that you can see it. In the neck of your cat, low down, near the windpipe, there are 2 little glands. Small. Smaller than a pea. They're called the thyroid glands, and their whole job, their only job, is to control the speed of the body. Think of them as the gas pedal. They release a hormone, and that hormone tells every cell in the body how fast to run, how fast to burn fuel, how fast to beat the heart, how fast to live. In a healthy cat, that pedal is held at a nice, steady cruising speed. Everything ticks along the way it should. But in an older cat, and I mean over about 10 years old, this is a disease of the senior cat, almost never the young one, something changes in those little glands, usually a benign, non-cancerous overgrowth, Nothing dramatic to look at. But those overgrown glands start pumping out too much hormone. Way too much. And the gas pedal gets jammed to the floor. That's it. That's the whole thing. A stuck accelerator. And now I want you to picture what happens to any engine when you floor it and hold it there. It runs hot. It burns through fuel at a furious rate. It shakes. It wears itself out. Metal that should last years wears out in months. That is precisely what is happening inside your cat, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a single moment of rest. And it explains, all at once, every strange thing you've been blaming on his age. I want you to really understand that this is not a small thing turned up a little. It is the whole body turned up to a level it was never built to hold. Every organ, every muscle, every heartbeat, all of it commanded to run faster and hotter than nature ever intended, and to keep running that way, day after day, with no off switch because the gas pedal is stuck and the cat cannot take his foot off of it. He would if he could. He can't. The eating. Oh, the eating. Here's the answer to the whole paradox, right here. His body is running at full throttle every second of every day, burning calories like a furnace with the door ripped off. He is so hungry because he is starving. His metabolism is devouring every bit of food faster than he can shovel it in. He isn't overeating out of greed. He's overeating out of desperation. He is a starving cat with a full bowl. And no matter how much he eats, the fire in his metabolism eats it faster and burns his own muscle and fat for the rest. That's why he's thin. That's why you can feel every rib. He is being consumed from the inside by his own runaway engine. Do you see it now? The big appetite isn't a sign he's fine. The big appetite is one of the loudest warning signs there is. It's the disease shouting at you, and we've been trained to hear it as good news. Now let me give you the rest of the picture, the other signs, because once you see the whole set together, you'll never unsee it. And I'll tell you which one people miss the most, and save the one that matters most for last. The first one you already know now, the appetite that goes up while the weight goes down. Write that pairing on your heart. Eating more, weighing less. In a senior cat, that combination is hyperthyroidism until proven otherwise. It is the signature. It is the fingerprint at the scene. The second sign is the restlessness. This is the one people misread the most, and it's the saddest misreading, because they get frustrated with the cat for it. Remember, every cell is flooded with go-faster hormone, so the cat can't be still. He paces. He wanders the house at odd hours, going nowhere, back and forth, room to room. He seems anxious, wired, jumpy, like he's had 10 cups of coffee and can't come down off of them. He might startle at things that never bothered him. He might seem irritable, snappy when he was always a lap cat before. Cats who were once happy to sleep 18, 20 hours a day are suddenly up, roaming, agitated, sometimes crying out. And yes, that includes the night yowling, though we've talked about vocalization on its own before, so I'll just say this in passing. When the restlessness and the crying come along with the thinness and the appetite, they're not loneliness, they're not confusion, they're a body that has forgotten how to rest. And here's the tragedy of it. Owners think the cat's gone senile, gotten cranky, turned into a grumpy old man in his last years, so they pull back a little. They love him a little more warily. When the truth is the exact opposite. This cat is not being difficult. This cat is suffering. This cat is so wired on his own hormones that he literally cannot lie down and be at peace in his own body. He hasn't gotten mean. He's exhausted, and he can't stop moving. Imagine that. Imagine being so tired you could weep and being physically unable to hold still long enough to sleep. That's your old cat. That's what's behind the pacing. Don't be frustrated with him. Look closer. The third sign is the coat. Look at your old cat's fur. Really look. In a hyperthyroid cat, it very often goes unkempt, matted, rough, greasy, dull where it used to shine, sticking up in spikes and clumps along the spine and down toward the tail, little mats forming behind the legs, at the base of the tail, in the places a cat has to twist to reach. And people assume, well, he's old, he can't groom like he used to, his joints are stiff, poor thing. And there's a grain of sense in that. Old cats do groom less. But when you see it alongside the rest, understand what's really going on. It's not that he can't be bothered. It's that his entire body is in overdrive, burning through its reserves, and a good coat is expensive for the body to maintain. It's one of the first luxuries the system drops when everything is running too hot and there's nothing left over. The furnace is consuming everything, and the fur is one of the things it stops paying for. A scruffy, neglected-looking coat on a thin old cat is not vanity slipping away with age. It's a red flag flying right there on his back, in a color you can see, if you know to look. And the fourth sign, the increased thirst. He's at the water bowl more, the litter is heavier. I'll only touch this lightly, because thirst can point to several things in an older cat, and we've covered the kidney side of that story elsewhere. Just know it belongs in the picture. It fits. It's one more cell in the same spreadsheet. Now, the most important one, the one I told you to wait for, and it's the one you cannot see by looking, which is exactly why it's the dangerous one, the heart. Remember the gas pedal is jammed to the floor. Well, the heart is a muscle, and it's getting the same command as everything else. Go faster, work harder, don't stop, not for a second. So the heart of a hyperthyroid cat races. It pounds. If your vet listens with the stethoscope, that heart is often galloping along far faster than it should, sometimes so fast the beats blur together. And it's being forced to sprint like that every hour of every day, all night while you sleep, for months, sometimes years on end. Now think about that. Your own heart, when you sprint, races, and then you stop, and you catch your breath, and it slows back down and rests. That rest is not optional. It's how a heart survives. But this heart never gets to stop. It never gets to catch its breath. It sprints in his sleep. It sprints while he eats. It sprints while he sits in the sun. And a heart that is made to sprint like that, without rest, without mercy, eventually starts to change. The walls thicken, the muscle strains, and in time, it can begin to fail. This is the part that can actually kill your cat. Not the thinness itself, though the thinness is hard to watch. It's the quiet, invisible toll on the heart, going on in the dark, where nobody's looking. And that is why "it's just old age" is such a costly mistake. Because while everyone is calmly deciding the skinny old cat is simply skinny and simply old, that little heart is running itself into the ground in the dark. I don't tell you that to frighten you. I tell you because of what comes next. And what comes next is the good part. This is the good part. Stay with me. Here is the thing about hyperthyroidism that makes it so different from so much of what I have to talk about. It is diagnosed with a simple blood test. That's it. One draw. A small tube of blood. Your veterinarian measures the level of that thyroid hormone in the blood, and if the pedal is jammed, the number is high. And there it is. No mystery, no guesswork, no expensive fishing expedition. In a senior cat with the classic signs, this is often one of the very first tests we run. And it is not exotic, it is not rare. It is bread and butter medicine that any general vet can do. Many times the blood work that already gets recommended for older cats will catch it on its own. Think about what that means. Everything I've described, the wasting, the restlessness, the racing heart, the misery of a body stuck at full speed, all of it. And the answer starts with a tube of blood you can get on an ordinary Tuesday. And here's the part that lifts my heart, the reason this is one of the diseases I'm actually glad to talk about. It is treatable. Genuinely, meaningfully treatable. Not just managed, not just slowed, actually brought back under control. Once your veterinarian confirms it, there are real options, several of them, to take that jammed gas pedal and ease it back off the floor, down to a normal, gentle cruising speed. To unjam the accelerator, to let that poor, exhausted body finally slow down and rest. And when that happens, the change can be something to see. Cats who were skeletal and frantic and falling apart can, with the right care, guided by your vet, put the weight back on. The ribs disappear back under a healthy layer again. The pacing stops. They calm down. They sleep, really sleep, deep and easy, maybe for the first time in a year. The coat grows back and soft and flat and starts to shine again. The cat you thought you were losing to old age comes back to you. I have watched it happen with my own eyes, more times than I can count. I have watched cats come back from the very edge of this and live good years afterward. Good years, full ones, curled up in the sun where they belong. And the only thing that had to happen first, the only thing, was that somebody stopped saying, "It's just old age," and said instead, "Wait, something's wrong here, let's check." That somebody can be you, tonight. Now, you're going to want to know what the treatment is, exactly, and I need to hold a firm line here, and I hold it because I care about your cat. There are several approaches, and which one is right depends entirely on your individual cat, his heart, his kidneys, his other conditions, his age, his temperament, your situation. That is not a decision to make from a video. It is not something to buy online. There is no dose I can hand you, and I would be doing you harm if I tried. So the medication, the amount, the method, all of it. You ask your veterinarian what's right for the weight and the health of your specific cat. That is not me passing the buck. That is me pointing you at the person who can actually save this animal. Let me answer the objection I can already hear, because I hear it every week. Somebody's saying, "Dr. Aurelio, he's 15. He's an old cat. Is it even worth putting him through tests and treatment at his age?" Listen to me. This is exactly the age when it's worth it. This is not a young cat's disease we're catching too late. This is the disease of the 10, 12, 15-year-old cat. The cat with years left in him, real years, if you take the accelerator off his heart. Treating this isn't prolonging suffering. Treating this is ending suffering. That frantic, starving, sleepless creature can become a calm, well-fed, comfortable old friend again. Too old to bother is the thinking that lets this disease win. Don't give it that. And when do you go? Here's the honest answer. This is usually not a rush to the emergency room at midnight thing. If you're seeing the slow slide, the appetite up, the weight down, the scruffy coat, the restlessness, that's a call the clinic and make an appointment thing. This week. Not tonight in a panic, but this week, not someday. The only time it tips into urgent is if your cat is in obvious distress, breathing hard, collapsing, clearly in crisis. And that's true of almost anything. For the slow, classic picture I've painted for you, you have a little time. Use it. Don't waste it deciding it's nothing. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, when you feed your senior cat, don't just fill the bowl and walk away. Put your hands on him, run your palms down his sides and feel for those ribs, that spine. Watch him after he eats. Is he settling or is he up and pacing? Look at his coat in the light. And ask yourself, honestly, the one question that cuts through all of it. Is he eating well but getting thinner? Because if the answer is yes, that is not your cat getting old. That is your cat getting sick with something that has a name and a test and a treatment. And I want to take one thing off your shoulders before you go, because I know some of you are already there. If you've been feeding a hungry cat and feeling good about that appetite, and now you're realizing you may have been watching a warning sign and reading it backward, do not carry that. You didn't miss it because you didn't care. You missed it because it is genuinely deeply counterintuitive. Because everything in the natural world tells us a hungry animal is a healthy animal. Because the whole disease disguises itself as the very thing that would tell you your cat was fine. Nobody hands you this knowledge. You were loving him the whole time, even when you were misreading him. And now you know. And knowing is the thing that changes everything. And the fact that you're still here, still listening, still willing to put your hands on that thin old cat and really look, is the whole reason cats have lived alongside us and been cared for at every hearth and every kitchen table for thousands of years. Because there have always been people like you, willing to notice, willing to wonder, willing to do one more thing for an old animal who can't tell us what's wrong. That's what it is to love a cat. Not knowing everything, just refusing to stop looking. So go put your hands on your old cat tonight. Feel for those ribs. And if that bowl keeps emptying while he keeps shrinking, you make the call. Now tell me down in the comments, has your senior cat been eating everything you give him and still losing weight? I read these, and I want to know your story.